What in God's name are you doing? Kate peered over the top of her book. Reading? Not tonight, you're not. Tony grabbed the book and pitched it over her shoulder, hitting the wall with a satisfying thud. She tossed 2 fake IDs in its place. We're going out, and I'm not taking no for an answer. Tony could be a bit overwhelming, although she was a lot like Joey. They were both loud and gregarious, everything Kate wasn't. Tony gave her a threatening look. Seriously, get up and get gorgeous, or I'll throw a bag over your head and drag you all the way to Kildare's. I have a test Monday. Kate pointed around her roommate at the anthology splayed open in the corner, its spine twisted. It's Friday, Tony reminded her. You have plenty of time. Come on, chop chop. Kate opened her mouth to argue, but the prospect of another evening reading names she couldn't begin to pronounce was too depressing. And besides, hadn't her mother insisted she get out and make new friends? Stepping off the elevator a few hours later, Kate frowned at her reflection in the lobby window. She was wearing too much makeup, and her crimped hair looked huge. Reason enough to cut and run. So what's going on at Kildare's? She tried to adopt a casual attitude as she and Tony headed down George Street. There's a rock duo there tonight. They're supposed to be really good. Plus, I hear they're both gorgeous. Tony winked. So if we're lucky... Kate slowed to a halt. Maybe she should turn around, head back to Beowulf. What's wrong? I don't know if I'm looking to get lucky. Tony crossed her arms and jabbed a finger into Kate's chest. Listen, Mousy Brown, you've had your nose stuck in a book since you got here. You haven't been to one football game or one party. It's almost Thanksgiving. If you don't get out tonight, you won't have anything to talk about when you get back to East Bumblefuck, so let's get moving. She linked her arm through Kate's and tugged. Stumbling along beside her, Kate regretted her choice of footwear. How could she be expected to take a leap out of her comfort zone when her boots were already pinching her toes? Kildare's was crowded and smoky and loud. Any other time, Kate would have turned and walked out. Instead, she braced herself and followed as Tony pushed her way to the bar and commandeered the bartender's attention, flashing her fake ID and a little cleavage and ordering 2 fuzzy navels. She had only had alcohol one other time. The summer after freshman year, Joey swiped a mason jar full of vodka from his dad. They hiked into the woods behind the high school and mixed it with iced tea. They got so drunk that, on a dare, they each stripped out of their shorts, t-shirts, and underclothes. A lot more than curiosity had been stirred up when Joey stood naked before her. On the other hand, he took one look at her, exposed and vulnerable, and shook his head. Nope, nothing, sorry. It was as if she'd tried to tempt him with a piece of dry toast. They didn't see each other for several days after that. Humiliated and hungover, she spent the next day with her arms wrapped around the toilet. When she hadn't returned his calls, Joey waited until her parents went out, then threw pebbles at her window. At first she ignored him, but as the stones grew larger, she became afraid he'd eventually break the glass. What? She stuck her head out the window, glaring down at him. Just in time. He dropped the small boulder he'd been about to lob at her window and brushed the dirt from his hands. I want you to know you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. If I could, I'd whisk you away from your ivory tower and make mad, passionate love to you right here on this very spot, you dark-haired Rapunzel, you. He pointed to the grass beneath his feet, then looked up at her with a sweet smile. She crossed her arms and tried to look angry, but it didn't matter. She couldn't stay mad. Come on down and let me give you a big, wet kiss right on the lips. Not necessary. I get it. I'm not your type. He lowered his voice. Well, not exactly. But I do love you. He folded his hands over his chest.